Close it up one time. Turn. Grip it. Again. Double it.
Boxing fans,
Break.
make some noise!
Saturday this weekend, my sister's got a big fight going on.
You know I can't win without my baby sis. You think I'm gonna win? You better say yes.
I find girls and bring them to the motel.
Is that her?
Yeah, it's her.
If you want to go through with this, you have to be all in and play the part. And once you're there, you're on your own.
If I were you, I'd walk away.
Hi.
Hi.
Nice to meet you. Put your seatbelt on, please.
I'm angry. It was my responsibility to keep her safe, and I failed to do so.
Where is she?
She's gone. I'm never gonna see her again. Nobody's looking because nobody cares.
Not a day goes by where I don't think about this little girl.
You think I remember their names?
This is about survival.
Go!
You gotta be ready. Get out of here, girls. Go!
I tell myself she's dead, but she keeps swimming on back to me to remind me she's still out there.
Where's my sister?
Joseph, first of all, I love films like filmmakers like Sidney Lumet and Catherine Bigelow, where they mix visual cinema with social issues. So how important was it to have someone like Kali as sort of just your co-collaborator on this to make this a perfect marriage of both forms?
Honestly, it was everything. You know, without her, the film doesn't exist. You know, and I knew very, very early on from meeting her that like I was gonna be very open to have her perspective and her knowledge and her input on the story. I can write the script, you know, obviously, but like I just wanted to collaborate with her and also building the character because she was also acting in it. So how can we fuse sort of the real emotion that we want to bring into that character? So it was, yeah, I mean, a lot of my favorite films do that, you know, narrative films, you know, they'll blend sort of a genre, but with, and take an audience on a very specific cathartic ride, but also leave them in a place where they're thinking. And building up my first film I made, Manos Sucias, was sort of a similar thing that I'm just at this point right now, you know, that's very much what I'm interested in. I feel like, you know, I became a filmmaker to I grew up in an area that was really diverse and I didn't see a lot of people the people that I hung out with represented on screen a lot. So very early on as a filmmaker, I just said, you know, I'm gonna try to do different.
Kali, there's a sequence in this film towards the early part where your character refuses to tap out. And I have a feeling that is a sentiment that you share, and just wondering how long it took for you to develop that inner strength where, you know, society tells us that the house always wins, the odds are stacked against us, but even through that, your character, and it seems like yourself, you're still fighting. And where does that spirit come from?
Well, just, I mean, versus the character, I think it's like totally on different sides of the spectrum. Whereas the character Kali, she's so guilty about her sister being missing because she thinks that it's her fault. She thinks everything's her fault. So I believe, and this is where we were coming from with her, is that it's almost like she feels like she should be the one that's missing, or she just wants her life to be taken because she doesn't even feel like it's worth anything. So that perspective of I'm not tapping out because maybe this is where I need to be. I should be getting, you know, choked out or something. That was her perspective. Whereas myself, I will never, I'll die on my shields kind of a thing, because it's just that warrior spirit I have. The history of the people I'm from, the Wampanoag Nation. I come from a great war chief named Anawan. He was King Philip's right-hand man, and I'm directly from that lineage. So it's embedded in my DNA to be a warrior, especially today's society and what indigenous people have faced, just really fighting inside and outside that ring for my people, or fighting for all nations. That's where that comes from. And it took me a while to kind of realize what path I was on, but once I realized it, you know, I took it and I'm gonna run with it. Again, I won't stop swinging until I'm on my shields.
You know, just on a base level for both of you guys, just how awesome is it for people to enjoy your co-venture on this, that they love this movie, but then on a more real side, the fact that people will come out from this movie knowing what hashtag MMIW stands for. Do you think for both of you, is that just really one of the most important parts about making this film?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's so many parallels for my boxing, why I even do what I do and still continue to fight and have a purpose way bigger than myself and outside of me just fighting and loving the sweet science. But I fight with purpose. Every punch is a prayer. I come out in grand entry. Energy is real. So I fight for those who can't fight anymore, fight for those who came before me, have a voice for the voiceless. And the fact that, I use my boxing platform for the same type of thing, as far as, people do start knowing what MMIW stands for boxing. So now I have another platform. It means everything because, awareness is the catalyst to change. So it means everything.
Yeah. And for me, I think, well, just our relationship, we're family now. So,
Yep.
so that's, we're, and that's one of the beautiful things about making films sometimes and working with real people. And, so for artistically, like that collaboration was really, really great. And what she just spoke on, really, that was the whole reason why we wanted to make the film, was just to bring awareness. We didn't, obviously, it's such a complicated issue that you can't answer it all in an 80-minute film or anything, but we wanted to take our it's our artistic interpretation of it and make a piece of art, and hopefully that it reflects and makes people think. And the film has now traveled all over the world, like in these festivals all over the world, and a lot of people don't know about the MMIW issue. So a lot outside North America, really. So yeah, I mean, I think that's it's been a 5-year journey, and it's crazy. The movie is now just finally coming out. So it's a lot to process, it's a lot to, but I mean, I'm grateful and proud of, how we made the film and that we made it and that it's out there,
Joseph, you're a veteran filmmaker. You've worked with a lot of actors and they're very great in their respective craft. But what's it like to work with someone who's absolutely just natural and you're behind the camera and you're seeing that ability unfold before you? I'm sure it's hard for you to put into words because I think that talent is a rare thing. Do you agree with that? I don't.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm a type of filmmaker that's interested in real people. It's almost like my first film sort of spawns out of sort of documentary type mindset and traveling and doing that type of stuff. But there is something for me with when you put someone in front of the camera and you start interviewing them, you can just feel something really, really special. And with her, it was immediate. It was absolutely immediate. But as a filmmaker, I look at these films as my children, basically. So when you're making, especially an independent film that doesn't have like super famous people in it, and it's going to be such a fight to get it made, I mean, people don't know all that they just see the finished film, but they don't see the blood, sweat, and tears that end up, almost giving up on it. But for me, one thing that's really wonderful about working with someone who isn't like a huge famous actor is I get to form this really, really special relationship and trust with them. So by the time we're on set, for me as a director, it's amazing. You know what I mean? It's an amazing experience. Whereas when I do a lot of television directing, especially if you're an episodic television director and you come in on a middle episode, you don't know the actors. You haven't even you meet them that day, you shake their hand, you block the scene, you do it. Again, it's a different thing. And I'm grateful to have that experience. And really I blended those two things on this film because we did have Lisa Emery in the film. We did have some faces in it that were like, oh, Kevin Dunn.
Yeah.
And if I didn't have that experience of doing television and they just come and we do the thing, I wouldn't have been able to do that, But for specifically like these films, like if I'm going to spend 5 years doing it, it's like that part of the process is very fruitful for me. It's just it helps me learn and grow as a person.
Kaylee, you mentioned boxing is a sweet science, and from a person like me who's an outsider, I'm looking at as boxing is a sport of winning and losing. But for you, when you called it the sweet science, there's much more layers to that. Can you just, I guess in layman's terms, explain that? Maybe I'm assuming for you it's more than just about the W or the L.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I even a loss is a win to me, because boxing is one of those things is there's no ceiling. If you put a ceiling on your knowledge in anything, especially something like boxing, then you're kind of blocking your blessing, because I can learn something from watching Mike Tyson videos, but I can also learn something from watching that 5-year-old throw a perfect jab that maybe that I never knew. And it's one of those things that you just got to keep an open mind with. And it is a sweet science, as it's an art, it's a dance, it's beautiful chaos. You have to be so calm when you do this such violent thing. The more angry you are, you can't, it blocks you. So you have to be it's more mental than it is physical. I mean, you have to keep yourself very grounded, and what you may think, just like if you're painting a picture, you don't really know what you're going to paint, but you're going to paint something. I know I'm going to fight this person. We can talk about it. Some blue in the face, but I won't know until that bell rings and that person's right in front of me. So it's something you have to be very present with. You can't think about the 10th round if you're in the 4th round. You have to know what's right in front of you so you can react. So that's what I mean by like the sweet science of boxing.
And I apologize for this narcissistic question towards you. Did you know that you were a natural actor, and then for this collaboration, are you ready for more offers? And because with more offers comes, you're going to spend a little bit less time around boxing. Are you ready for that to come? And did you know that you were natural? Because it's amazing. Yeah.
I mean, I knew I wanted to do it, and I thought just like I didn't know I was as good as I am at boxing. It took me a long time to accept that I was really that good and feel and act accordingly, because as Indigenous women, we have this sorry for being here kind of attitude, and it gets passed down. So number one, I didn't know I was good as boxing as I am now, and I actually accepted it. Number two, the acting thing. I mean, I knew maybe that I had a little something, but it was just putting the trust in Joseph for really saying, no, you are like a natural. I'm like, okay, well, yeah. And then hearing the responses that I'm getting and actually really falling in love. It's something, I think you're a natural in anything that you really love. And I didn't know I even liked or loved acting or storytelling, and I actually really love it. So as narcissistic as it doesn't sound, I mean, I knew I was okay, but I didn't know that good.
Yeah, I was just going to say, having a love for boxing, and it's grown a lot as I spent more time with Kali, but it's all about being present and in the moment, right? And that's kind of basically what acting is. You know what I mean? You're on the journey to find the result of the performance that you don't want to just play the result. And if you played the result in boxing, you'd be dead, right? You'd be done. So I think there was a lot of the fact that she was a fighter really translated well, and also even being in front of the camera and doing sort of very complicated steady cam works in a dance with the camera. She has the peripheral vision to just hit her mark, and it takes people a long time to figure that shit out. So
maybe some don't even figure it out, right? Some of them don't.
That doesn't matter. But I think that there was a good bridge there. But again, it's something. Sometimes there's something inexplicable as a filmmaker, and I just knew, I just knew when we first started hanging out that I had no doubt. I never had any doubt.
My final question to both of you is: I know that's very hard to put into words, but I'm thinking about compounding value. What's for you over the 5-year journey? What's been the greatest part of it? And I'm assuming the greatest part of this journey is you're experiencing it now because you're getting so many people with their families who watch this, and they share their personal stories with both of you. Have both of you experienced such a thing? And is there a way to put that into words, actually, in an answer like that? So,
the best thing about this entire experience, number one, I got some more family. You know what I mean? I kind of stumbled across something that can be just as effective as my boxing, as boxing isn't forever, in telling stories and another talent that I have to share with the world. But the fact that we haven't had to explain a thing about the themes that we're trying to get across to people in this film, people tell us in different countries, people get exactly what we're trying to do. There's never any questions, it's observations and things that people get from it. Not, well, I don't get this. It's just people are giving us really good feedback, and we just sit back and let it unfold, and people take it for what it is. I think that's the most beautiful thing for me, at least.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it would probably just be, our friendship and the process and the learning. It's like, for me, it's never about the result. It's about the process and in making mistakes and learning from them. Right now, as the filmmaker, it's always a terrifying time when the film's coming out, because like literally as we're talking right now, like, 20 reviews could come out, and who knows if they like it or they don't like it. And then, so it's, I tend to kind of go into a more reflective place as the film is getting closer to being released, and I just hope that people really like it, but it's not really what's most important. Was, I think, the journey, if that makes sense.
Okay, thank you so much for your time. You mentioned Alexander McKendrick, very esoteric. Love his work as well. Sweet Smell of Success. So I'm asking you about this, Joseph. Is this going to be a De Niro, Scorsese, John Ford, John Wayne kind of collaboration with you and Kali down the road? Because I will be disappointed as a movie fan if I don't see more stuff with you guys down the road. So can you speak to that? Can you guys speak to that?
I mean, I'm sure we're gonna. I'm sure we'll work together. We just don't have any time. I mean, she's a professional fighter. I make these little movies, and I have to go shoot for like 7 months on a television show. So, but we'll find the time. And
if
and
the
right
public
thing.
wants it and demands it, we're gonna do it.
We're already talking, like, we have different ideas and stuff. We just haven't had the time to like sit down and really kind of once the storm settles, I think we'll but I'm sure and I'm always, and it's probably very special, but I'm always looking to cast her and stuff too. Like if I'm up for a show or something, or I'm always going to be throwing that out there. So
thank you guys. Kali, whatever you do, good luck with boxing, continued success, and do not make Joseph is a talented filmmaker. Do not make him go Hollywood. He is talented.
No, I know, I got it. We're gonna hold each other down, keep each other grounded in reality.
Thank you guys so much. Love your film.
Really thoughtful questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you.